So when we think about, okay, we've selected a group, what are we going to train them in? What's the topic? What's the curriculum? So there's a couple challenges. We see all the time that people create an emerging leader program that kind of mirrors the topics of a new manager program. It's the competencies to lead people. Hey, how do you give effective feedback? How do you run one-on-one meetings? How do you do delegation, et cetera? That makes sense. You're trying to get them ready to lead. The problem is, if they don't have any direct reports, it's hard for them to apply it, to practice it, to try it. They might actually forget it, the old knowing doing gap, by the time they get promoted in 12 to 18 months. The other thing we see is that they go the other direction. The topics aren't about managing people. They're just sort of these vague leadership topics. Hey, we're going to all talk about what it means to be a visionary leader, or you're going to all go through some sessions on transforming the organization, and you might even get a project with a capstone that you present. Meanwhile, I'm a frontline pharmaceutical sales representative, and you're asking me to transform Pfizer. Not very realistic, not very applicable. So the way we like to approach it is you have to make a decision. Is your emerging leader program going to focus on behaviors, which are largely driven by personality, behaviors, or will it be competency-based skills? We don't think either one's wrong. We think you have to be intentional about that choice. For example, let's focus on the behavioral ones. Now, we happen to like the Hogan assessment. We are a Hogan partner, but we're also an EQI partner. There's lots of good assessments out there. This is just for example. So Hogan, their high potential model says, all right, these emerging leaders need to be great at leadership foundations, leadership emergence, and leadership effectiveness. And when you look at their reports, and you could take this personality assessment, you get scores on this. So under leadership foundations, that is 3 topics: following process, thinking broadly, getting along with others. 3 important things as a foundation of getting ahead as a leader. Leadership emergence. Does anyone even know, are you standing out? Or are you getting attention? Influencing others, building connections. Leadership effectiveness is the people part. Lead the business, manage resources, lead the people. So if you use a behavioral approach, and again, we like the 5-factor model of personality. We like EQ, the Talent Smart EQ, EQI 2.0, different ways to do this. But basically, you start with this behavioral assessment, and then your topics are these 9 competencies, if you're using Hogan. So all of a sudden, what are we going to teach them? What are we going to focus on? Assess them on these items, and then you support them in these items. If you don't want to go behavioral and you want to go competency, our recommendation is you don't actually train the manager topics, how to lead others. You just train deeper the leading self topics, which you might already have a competency model, or there's topics that can get decided. So it might be things like increasing your self-awareness with strengths finders or DISC, having a growth mindset, building confidence, active listening, drives results, influence without authority. There's, of course, dozens of potential competencies under leading self, but you solve the problem of, you just taught me how to do grow coaching, but I don't have any direct reports. So I don't got a lot of people to coach right now, and I'm going to forget about it, or I'm going to need to go through it again in my new manager program. So it's like, hey, we've tapped you on the shoulder. You're a high potential here. We think you're ready for management. Let's develop you over 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, in these topics.